Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to show you a knight sacrifice on h7. This also came from the unofficial course textbook that has never been translated into English. And this is a very interesting game because it comes out of the King's Gambit. If you follow the channel, you will know that I am a big fan of the King's Gambit. I'm a big fan of gambits that involve pushing the f-pawn in general. I think it's a great way to strike in the center in a slightly indirect way and create a lot of dynamism and create a lot of sharp tactical opportunities. So I highly recommend playing lines such as the King's Gambit if you enjoy this type of dramatic game. So without further ado, here we go. It's e4, e5, and f4 starting the King's Gambit. It does weaken your king, specifically to attacks, for example, from the queen. But in my opinion, it's worth it. The level of dynamism, the level of strength in the center that it creates for white is worth it. Bishop c5, knight f3, preventing the black queen from potentially in the future coming down. So she can't actually come down at this moment. In order for black to actually make something of this diagonal, they would have to first capture this pawn, then bring the queen down, because if black were to bring the queen right now immediately, then g3 would block and attack the queen. Whereas if the black pawn were here, then the black pawn could just capture g3. So, but anyway, the bringing the knight out to f3 just puts a stop to that idea completely. So d6, note that black played d6 only after developing the dark squared bishop so that the d-pawn doesn't hamper the bishop. Bishop to c4, attacking the f-pawn. So this is a key idea that we see very often in these games on attacking the kingside castle. The f7 pawn is critical, or in the symmetric case when we're attacking white, then it's the f2 pawn. Knight to f6, knight to c3, protecting that pawn that black was threatening. Castle's kingside. D3, sort of starting to allow this bishop to in the future have a line of attack. Knight to g4, and note that black is threatening the famous fried liver attack here. The fried liver attack is when this this knight, comes down here and forks the queen and rook. Or alternatively, some people like to play it, check the king here, and then the king has to move and has lost the right to castle. So, yeah, so rook to f1, preventing that. So effectively defending this point and also making it so that if the knight comes here, it's not a fork. Now you just have to move your queen. Knight takes h2, attacking the rook anyway. And also note that this captured Harry the h-pawn. So Harry the h-pawn will no longer be able to march up the king side. But it does mean that the h-file is now open for the white rook, which as we will see will be a key attacking idea. Rook to h1 coming back, knight to g4 again, threatening the fork. Queen to e2, making it so that it would not be a fork anymore. Bishop to f2 check, making the king move and be unable to castle. Not that he could castle kingside anymore. It would have had to have been a queenside castle if white wanted to castle. King to f1, knight to c6, f5. So now this bishop pair is fully operational, bearing down on the kingside castle together with this rook as well. Bishop to c5, sort of getting out of the... I guess what's happening is that black is hoping to move the knight back, and it wouldn't do to leave the bishop unsupported deep in enemy territory. Knight to g5, preparing to actually start attacking. Hitting this point, you see this point is hit twice by both the knight and the rook. Knight to h6, so sort of shielding, using it himself as a shield against the rook. Queen to h5, queen to e8, and now comes the critical sacrifice, knight takes h7. Then we get king takes h7, and now the incredible bishop takes h6. In this position, black resigned, but we'll go ahead and show the continuation. So it's not actually something black can do to capture here, because then the queen just captures. She's supported by the rook back here, and then wherever the king goes, the queen will just checkmate him. So black can't actually capture that bishop. So g6, trying to kick the queen away, and the incredible queen takes g6 check. So now, after f takes g6, bishop takes f8 is checkmate. And notice what is happening here. Basically, every piece is doing something. There's the rook attack here, with barreling down the h pawn after Harry the h pawn was taken away. There's this bishop barreling down to f7 and g8 as usual in these attacks, and the dark squared bishop preventing an escape, for example, here. So very nice piece coordination. As usual, this happens because of the point I keep making in these videos is numerical superiority, just like better coordination, but also just more pieces on the attack. This is the critical moment before the attack actually begins, and you can count. There's this bishop hitting f7. There's this knight. So we have 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, 5, and the queen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Whereas black has like basically one defender, which is the knight, and the only thing he's contributing is serving as sort of a human shield. And Yeah, so that's the game for this time. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.